You think your team?
We like them. We like the players. We like the way they mesh together, and the older guys, the guys that have been around, have embraced the younger guys, and vice versa. And I would stand proud to say our exit interviews, which are basically at the end of the fall, how you did, and complaints and likes and dislikes, was the most positive from player to player that we've had. So that's a good start. We're in a good place, I think, chemistry-wise to start with, and we think we're better. The recruiting class had expectations coming in, and quite frankly, some of the guys that were in between guys played more productively in the fall and revealed themselves as candidates to start, and some of the higher profile guys struggled a little bit. So since we've come back, we haven't done a whole lot. We officially start tomorrow. It looks like the guys that had the highest ranking in recruiting are starting to get it and play like they're capable of playing. So that's a good thing. I think we're going to have some tremendous battles out there.
Is everybody healthy?
Yeah, we're pretty healthy. We got a couple little nicks on the mound that aren't perfect. Tristan Duncan continues to deal with his surgery that he had a couple years ago, so he's not back at full strength yet. But other than that, we got a couple kids with soreness here and there. Drees got a knee deal. They missed a step down the stairs, and we don't think that's lingering. And so, yeah, we're pretty healthy going into it.
Do you feel like the junior class, is this their leadership time, being that, we've seen Jovan and Steer and Nelson, those seniors, and you've got some seniors, but as the juniors, is their year you want them to kind of be?
Yeah, good statement there. We've invested a lot of playing time for those guys. There was a core of 5 of them that went to the Cape and made an impact there. Matthews was not one of them because he hurt himself there, but he got to stay there and learn and watch from arguably some of the better players in the country, and he came back better for that. DeLuca I would throw into that category of juniors too. We just had
draft eligible.
Yeah, but he's also was on the All-Star team in the Cape, and he's really grown up. Not that he was a baby or anything last year, but he looks like he's a junior instead of a sophomore. And so we just had a leadership council vote actually with our team, and it was those guys that you talked about, Matthews, Steer, Kenyon, DeLuca, not Nelson. Nelson wasn't on that.
4 of them.
Who am I leaving out of that? Oh, Goldfarb, of course, the redshirt senior. So I always forget to talk about Goldie and leadership. He's been around a long time, so that's a really good thing.
Within the exit interviews, what were some of the things that you and the staff kind of looked at and said, all right, that's something we can reevaluate or maybe look at changing up a little bit differently going into this season?
Yeah, whenever you fall short of your expectations, the public comment is we got to look at everything that we do and see what we can tweak and do better, and certainly personnel is part of that. And so you kind of evaluate everything that you're doing. And if I said to you we changed a whole bunch of things, then that would mean what were we doing the last 3 years? So we believe in our formula, we believe in our blueprint, we believe in what we do, and we just got to do it better more frequently than we've been doing. And it isn't a wholesale changes. We tweaked weights a little bit, and we started later in the fall, allowed the guys to get their feet on the ground, and everybody seemed to like that. We've been more communicative to them, listened to them, done a better job of working with them instead of telling them what to do, and little things like that. I think that's what today's athlete appreciates more and more as each generation comes to you. And I've been doing this a long time, so I'm a little bit of an old dog, and I'm not anxious to change a lot. So some of it's an adjustment from the head coach as well.
Freshman class coming in, does it seem like this team's got maybe a little bit more depth than it did at this point last year, and the freshmen are kind of coming along at maybe a different pace than the freshmen that were in last year's class did?
Yeah, we think so. When I say we have some good battles and some undetermined positions, that's what we mean. We've got some guys that have utility ability. Catchers that can play other positions, guys that can play the infield and outfield, and we're more athletic. We're more physical. We pass the eye test better than we maybe have in the last couple years, and that's nothing against those kids. They gave us everything they got, but yeah, we think we might be deeper, especially position player-wise. We were awfully thin last year, I thought, and we're working on the depth on the mound. That's one of our concerns as we try to build arms up and going into the season, is that hopefully the pitching depth will expand. The high end of it with Nelson and Kenyon and Kafka's really emerged as a guy, and there's been some improvement from some of the juniors, even from their sophomore year. The freshmen have been a little bit of a work in progress, so they're capable, and we hope that they get comfortable and can add depth on the mound.
Bit of a trial by fire there with Texas Tech and the 4-game slate on the road right to open the season.
You know, somebody said to me, "Why'd you schedule that?" But we like to play the best. I mean, we might as well not wait. We've got 3 teams in the pack that are in the top 10. Texas Tech is very well coached. I know Tim very well. Omaha team. A hostile environment. They're going to be sold out. The weather might not be perfect there in Lubbock that time of the year, and so it'll be some. Besides how good they are, it'll be very challenging for us, and it's a good thing to get ready for. In years past, when I was coaching at Fullerton, we always used to open with Stanford. That was always a good opener because for both teams. And, it's not Hawaii, but we get to go to Hawaii this year, so we're back on their schedule. So. Looking forward to the challenge. It's certainly a huge challenge to go into Tech and play well. They're ranked in the top 10 as well.
And you mentioned Kafka. Is that as a starter possibly?
Yeah, he's really pitched well. In fact, we weaned Kenyon because of his commitment in the summer, the Cape and Team USA and the innings he logged. We didn't start him when we started the other guys, so he didn't have a full fall. But Kafka was probably our best performer on the mound in the fall, and again Nelson was kind of weaned into it too. We didn't jump into the fire with him. So
Summer's a candidate too to be back.
Yeah, Kobe's certainly in there, and Cole Stringer's back, and we love his experience, and so they're in the mix as well to be starters. And we're throwing Nelly as a starter right now, but we'll have to see how everything else kind of fits in the puzzle and where he would be best used for the sake of the team. Certainly him being a closer, not a shortstop, would allow him to pitch more frequently at the back end of the bullpen if we put him there. And so, no, we're not ready to make that decision yet. That's why I'm saying Nelly would be one of those candidates. If he's not in the starting rotation, then certainly he would be that guy.
Goldfarb still behind the plate? That's still the plan?
Yeah, he's still working there. That's an area that we need to get better at, quite frankly. He's working his rear end off, and with Mitch Carricker, his guidance, and Cameron Campbell's back, and his arm seems to be back close to 100%. So it's going to be a battle between. I think those 2 guys are the leading candidates there, and then the Bell and Zavala and Picard have been getting better and better each week that goes by.
Attorneys at first and third with Steer and Matthews.
We're considering Steer playing in the middle. That's still undecided. The game goes very slow, as I like to say, for Spencer. He's always under control, very experienced. Instead of maybe having 2 freshmen in the middle, might be a good thing to have an experienced guy in the middle. Physically and experience-wise, he can do it for sure. We just have to see what between Kroenke, Nowitzki, and Foxcroft, where they would play second and third if that works. If Spencer plays short.
Obviously, looking back last year, Coach, I don't want to dwell too much on last season, but some frustrations, from coaches and the team of missed expectations from the fan base as well. Not necessarily a make or break year this season, but do you feel like this is kind of a year where you want to get this team and program kind of just back on the right track from a macro scale?
Well, I hope it's not a make it or break it deal. This is we've had 10 years under our belt. The first 5 were headed in the right direction, and we've we've plateaued out. I'm not happy about that. I don't feel any more sense of urgency than I would if we would have went to the College World Series last year. That answers your question. George Horton, wherever I coach, and this has been for 42 years, I expect to be in the final dance. We have good enough players. Hopefully I've never blamed the players. It's been all of us, and the best way to say it is I'm gonna do my very best. I know my team's gonna give us everything we got, and at the end of the year we'll do what we always do. We'll look back and see if we reached our potential. And I think the good news is I think our potential this year will be a very competitive team. Is that good enough to win a Pac-12 championship? We'll see. There's some awfully good teams out there, and besides the ranked teams and the defending national champion and a team that's not ranked that went to the College World Series, two of America's finest hitters are in our conference too, Torkelson and Vaughn, and they're not even ranked. So very challenging, but that's why I came here. The Pac's an awesome conference to battle in. I love the opportunity to be the Oregon coach, and I can't wait to get started tomorrow, quite frankly. And I think I speak for my staff and my team when I say that.
George, you mentioned that potential. Do you feel like that potential has been there the last few years and it was just a matter of getting up to it, or did you maybe need to do some things to raise the ceiling of what the team can do?
Yeah, again, that's pretty easy to point fingers, Austin. I think at the end of the day we were short. We had some defections, we've had some things happen, we've had some injuries, and those are all excuses, but I don't think we passed the eye test. I think we were too small, too slow, and obviously you look at the numbers, we're not good enough to be in the mix. And, I take responsibility for that. I hope I've been conveying that. And so, is it my assistant's fault? No. I think as a group we look at it, hey, what do we need? We need a top 5 recruiting class. And all coaches will say it's not the X's and O's, it's the Johnnies and Joes. You'd like to think that coaching has a big part of that as well, development and confidence and everything that goes with the ability. So I think we have more Division I championship type baseball players in our program now than we've had in the last several years. So is that anybody's fault but mine? No. Recruiting's a big part of coaching. So if we've come up short there, that's on me.
You talk about confidence and coming into a season where you're facing one of the tougher schedules in the school history, and you open with Texas Tech and such a deep Pac-12. What's the level of confidence in the building that you guys can go make some noise in the Pac-12 and beyond?
Yeah, it's I'm looking at Texas Tech. I mean, that's a huge challenge. I hate to be cliche, but our philosophy has always been we play the game. We know if we're going to do anything and make a splash, we're going to have to play the game against other teams and coaches that can really play the game. That's fun for me. So we know what championship baseball looks like. Our mission leading up to our trip to Lubbock will be to play the game at the championship level. The record and whether we're worthy of the challenge of the schedule will reveal itself as we go along. I'm very confident. I would say my team's very confident. They all seemed, first time I've gone back to the Cape and spent time with our upperclassmen, talked to them, got their opinions. They've been good leadership guys up to this point. So I think we're all headed in the right direction, and I think we're all very confident that we're going to play the game of baseball a lot better.